Welcome everyone to our amazing Heal Week, where we are going to be busting barriers, breaking barriers, busting myths, and bringing you tomorrow's healing technology today. And I am thrilled and a bit emotional because I have with me 5 of the most impressive women that I have ever met. And I've met a lot of women. And each one of them is an FNLP practitioner. And that stands for Functional Nutritional Labs Practitioner. So every one of these women that is about to impart their incredible wisdom to you has spent a lot of time and energy, resources, becoming these wise women that they are. So welcome to the practitioner panel for Heal. And we're going to start today with Marie-Hélène Roussel. And by the way, everybody, all of the information for you to be able to connect with these wise women will be sent out in emails. It'll be under the video when we're finished. So don't worry if you go, whoa, I want more. You'll be able to get plenty more of these girls. Okay, so Marie-Hélène was born and raised in France and has been passionate about health and wellness, personal development, and spirituality since the age of 24. This seems to be a theme, doesn't it? That there's a certain age that we all drop into this. Yeah. After contracting hepatitis, living through the AIDS pandemic, and experiencing dissatisfaction with conventional medical solutions, she sought alternative healing methods to help herself and others. Marie-Hélène's background is diverse and vibrant, having lived in 4 countries. She is certified in the US as a functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner, bioenergetics practitioner, and emotional freedom technique practitioner. Her most interesting and unique work includes being a breath therapist and rebirther, cranial, sacral, and body harmony practitioner, Reiki, and energetic healer. I don't know that you could fit much more into this life so far. This is so brilliant. She goes, oh yeah, I can. I love that she's been nicknamed the Dolphin Whisperer. When I met Marie-Hélène 20 plus years ago, boy, she was like really, really the Dolphin Whisperer for running wild dolphin stress relief and educational tours for over half a year, at least for 12 years. And additionally, she served as a spiritual midwife, participating in underwater birthing with dolphins for 6 English pregnant mothers in Israel. Now, that must have been the most incredible experience. You can tell us a little bit about that. In September of 2020, Marie-Hélène was introduced to LifeWave. After witnessing the technology dramatically improve her husband's quality of life, she became passionate about sharing it with the world and transitioned to working full-time with LifeWave to redefine aging. So, wow. I guess my first question to you is, why did you choose to focus on redefine aging? Because I understand that it's an incredible thing. And at our age, I mean, not all of the women on here are our age, but we're getting into the 60s and 70s. And of course, this is on everybody's mind. So I'd love you to talk about why you decided to focus on redefining aging.
Well, yes. First of all, I want to say how thrilled I am to be with all of you, because I always feel so uplifted and so alive when I'm with all of you beautiful ladies. And well, I have the chance of working with you and being friends with you. It's really a dream come true. So yes, there is the obvious that I'm getting up in age. You know, I'm getting into 69, my husband even more, getting into the 85. There is also the fact that it feels now that in retrospect, that I've started working on longevity since the age of 24. Since I had the blessing of having hepatitis, that's when it was my wake-up call, and that I've worked on everything that you need to work on in order to have a quality of life when you age. My father was also a great mentor because he never looked at himself as, old. It was not part of his vocabulary. And it's maybe when he turned 98 and a half that he possibly started looking at himself as, I'm getting old. So, but it's not really the main thing. It's when you look at the medical profession, that if a woman or a man or woman go to a medical doctor with their list of symptoms, and usually what the doctor will tell them is, it's normal, it's your age, when it's absolutely not acceptable. That's really not acceptable in my book. Also that, we have to combat the conditioning of what supposedly, when you look at the magazines, when you look at the television, all the social media, it's all about, you're a certain age, you're young, you're great, you have your life in front of you. And when you start aging, you're being pushed on the side. And that's not acceptable. I mean, it's like, why not making the third part of your life possibly even the best one? And we have all the tools. As long as we do the work, we have all the tools to be able to age with high quality of life, and to be able to even do the things that we couldn't do when we were younger. And so it's a combination. And I really want to be a voice in educating you. You're muted, Sandra. You are muted.
Thank you. It's also what I'm picking up is that, and I love everything you've said so far, that you actually have gained the wisdom by the time we're getting into, 50s, 60s, 70s. There is a wise woman that starts emerging probably in our 40s if we're lucky, and we're focused on the things that you guys are focused on. So I think that what you're saying is so true, that there are other ways. And look at all of the other ways that you have studied. I mean, it's amazing. And I know you've got a new project coming up, which, by the way, I'm pretty excited about. Can hardly wait for you to launch it. And the program, it's an exciting program called Reset Ageless Energy. And doesn't that make sense that Marie-Hélène would be focused on resetting ageless energy after what she's just said? So I'd love to know a little bit more about that. Are we allowed to know more about that now?
Yes, absolutely, because I'm very excited. I'm really excited by it. And again, like we've seen over the last few years, we've seen an increase in the number of people who have low energy, all the number of health conditions that we don't even have a name for. And at the same time, we've seen more and more tools and innovative technology emerging to support and to rebalance what's going on in the world. So, but at the same time, I would have said that up to 10 or 15 years ago, healthy nutrition, healthy lifestyle with a few supplements would have been enough to stay optimal health, to be really healthy, and to even like not age disgracefully, but it's not enough anymore. And I know that that's when I got passionate about LifeWave. But it seems that with what happened over the last 3 to 4 years, we need even more. So that plus, as Dana called me recently, an eternal learner, I found out that it's not new. It was a study 10 years ago talking about the mitochondria. Now, when we talk about energy, we are thinking mitochondria. And in my mind, I thought, for what I had learned so far, that the mitochondria was this part of the cell where the only function was to generate cellular energy. Well, actually, it's not. The mitochondria has another mode that is going into the cell protection, cell danger, cell defense. And so, you up to a certain time, we were able to balance this between going from one mode to another, going from the cellular production to the cell defense. But as there's more and more chronic stress, we are more and more into just staying in that cell danger, cell defense, and therefore not producing enough cellular energy. To heal your body, for your body to heal itself, and to slow down and even possibly to reverse aging, you need to produce enough cellular energy to optimize, that function, and to have enough reserve energy to slow down the aging and to reverse also any health condition. So I want to put together a program or course where maybe it won't be new, everything won't be maybe new, but to put in one place everything that somebody can do or need to do to remove also and to add in their daily health life in order to boost your cellular energy, to optimize your energy level. And one last thing is that I heard recently that the people, the high achiever and the happiest people in the world are doing something daily to boost the cellular, not the cellular energy, but the energy level, which is the same thing.
Would you say that is why the energy enhancer patch in the LifeWave reverse aging system is so important?
Absolutely. And also that this is why we need to remove, if again, it will be like, no matter how magical LifeWave patches are, and even energy enhancer is still one of my favorite ones. I mean, I don't have only one favorite, but favorite ones. But at the same time, we're to have also the tools to support
Absolutely.
even the patch. So it's, like having more than the nutrition, the lifestyle, the patches, and more added to it.
Well, I think David Schmidt, the scientist and inventor of LifeWave, talks about this all of the time. He talks about the need for an environment that supports cellular reverse aging and energy. And it sounds to me like you're going to be creating something that will really do all of that. But I'm really, really excited because I know David says often that wearing the energy enhancer patch, as in having your mitochondria activated to that degree, actually helps the X39 and the X49 patches do their job more efficiently. So it sounds like we're going to have pretty amazing program on our hands. Thank you so much. I guess, I mean, we know that LifeWave technology fits into this important topic. We just talked about that, but did you want to expand on that, how LifeWave really fits into that topic?
Oh, well, that obviously LifeWave will be absolutely included in the topic as one of the main tools, but also, like with other tools.
Yes.
Definitely.
Right. Okay, well, I must say, can hardly wait for the program. And guess what? For everybody who is listening to this or watching the replay, Marie-Hélène has a free ebook. I love the title of this book. It's called What the Heck Should I Eat? And I'm going, oh, I need that. So that's going to be available to everybody in the Heal online expo. And the first people, by the way, who claim the book will also be the first to get the information about the reverse ageless energy. Thank you so much, Marie-Hélène. That was absolutely amazing. Anne Lemons is next. And wow, I wanted to say wow. I mean, if I start saying wow a bit too often, just go, okay, she's she's in awe of these people. So, and another wow, Anne. So Anne Lemons is a seasoned physical therapist and practitioner of functional medicine, nutrition, and lifestyle in Boston. As a passionate advocate for women's health, Anne empowers her clients to build strong bones with holistic strategies while getting to the root causes of their osteoporosis. She works in partnership with women to help them reclaim their vitality and reach the highest expression of themselves. This is called turning up as the best version of you, regardless, right? Anne is not only a certified buff bones instructor, and I really want to know what that is, and trained in Bone Fit from the Bone Health and Osteoporosis Foundation, she also brings specialized training in gut health and heart math to her holistic practice. So first of all, what is buff bones?
Well, thank you for inviting me here. First of all, Sandra, this is really exciting to be part of this panel. And yes, buff bones is just part of my training to help women to strengthen properly. So this is a strengthening program specifically for osteoporosis. There are definitely things that we want to do and to avoid in our exercise routines, but it's meant to really help to provide better core strength, improve postural alignment, postural awareness, balance, and just overall health. So a really great program to bring to any of my patients that I see.
So what actually inspired you to have this focus?
Well, I started about 2 years ago. I had my own diagnosis of osteoporosis. And what happened for me is I realized there was such a huge information gap, not only for patients, but for physicians. And so what I set out to do is really close this education gap and give people the information that they need. One of the things that we talk about is when women get their osteoporosis diagnosis, and this was true for me, the only option that you're given is medication and told to start calcium and vitamin D. And that's an option. It is an option, but most of the women that I see, and I primarily see women in my practice, they're looking for more holistic options. They're looking to build their bone and prevent bone loss in a way that's more holistic to bring themselves into that healing place. So that's really what the drive was here, was that I was not accepting that as my only option because I knew better. And I'm here to share with women and anyone with osteoporosis or osteopenia that we have so much that we can do to prevent bone loss and to build bone besides medication.
Well, that brings me to my next question, and that is, how do we stop bone loss to prevent fractures? Because
Absolutely.
I must say that falling over when you getting older, you can, well, even as a child, it's really easy to break things when we fall, and it's really easy to fall, right? So how do we stop bone loss to prevent fractures?
Right. Awesome question. So when we're looking at, I approach this very holistically. So I have 3 key areas that I want to address right away to help us prevent fractures. That's the name of the game, because we know statistically, if we fracture, the outcomes are not so great. In terms of mortality risk goes up, there's a lot of disability and pain that can go along with that. So we want to get to the root cause. So that's my number 1. Start to address and assess your root causes for bone loss and for inability to build bone. Now, that could be number 1, inflammation. Inflammation is a big driver of bone loss. And this could be silent inflammation. This could be something going on in your body that you don't necessarily feel. So we want to know, and there's certain tests that we can do to see where that is and how much of that is showing up in the body. hormonal imbalance. We want to take a look at hormones. Bone density is expected to drop upwards of 20% in the perimenopausal to menopausal transition. That's a lot. And that's primarily because estrogen is dropping, right? So we have that drop in estrogen, that's going to affect bone density. We need to be aware of that. And that's something that we can address, right? Then we have to look at things like digestion. This is my wheelhouse. If we're not absorbing and assimilating what we're taking in for nutrients and minerals, what good is it? You know, we really need to look at digestion and see how well we're digesting. Then we want to look at detoxification issues. This was a problem for me and how I was introduced to the patches through my good friend and colleague, Dana Frost, right there. I had a mold toxicity. It produced a ton of inflammation in my body, created a lot of pain in my body. And one of the biggest things with mold toxicity is it just knocks out your ability to detoxify. So here you have some of my root causes for bone loss. I had that inflammation going on. I had some detoxification issues because of that because of that mold toxicity. So we've got patches to address these things, which is what I love about this. And then we're looking at sleep, lack of sleep, and chronic stress. These are all things that can drive bone loss. You can actually drive yourself into bone loss if you're under chronic stress. And then, of course, muscle wasting, or it's called sarcopenia. So the good news is we have patches to support all these things, and we have a lot of tools. And that's what I love is I have these patches as another tool to address some of these root causes of bone loss. All right. So that's sort of number one is address root causes. Number two would be to build muscle. And because muscle is so important when it comes to building bone, muscles attach to the bone, and we need to strengthen them. We need to keep increasing the pull on the bone to give the message to the bone, hey, I still need you. You need to continue to grow. So building muscle is so key. And we start losing muscle again, primarily due to hormonal imbalance. But if we're not using it, we're losing it. And we start to lose more muscle with each decade of life, especially after menopause. So we need to develop what I call a muscle bank, especially in that perimenopausal period, so that we can make up for some of this bone loss or address some of this bone loss. So those are my first two. I don't know if you have any questions around that before I tell you my
I've got so many questions around that. It's not... well, first of all, you're talking about using the light energy patches as one of the tools to help with all of this. And I can see how important exercise is. But I also know that until I started using the patches, especially X39 and Energy Enhancer, I didn't even feel like exercising. So you're finding that, you know, if you get the bone loss and you get the muscle wasting, but you don't have the will or the desire to exercise. So I guess the question is, are you finding that they work as a system together, that you need to emotionally and mentally have the mindset to do the exercise to stop the bone loss, right? And to build the muscle to stop the bone loss.
100%, 100%. If we're not able to get off the couch because we don't have the energy, to provide a good meal to fuel the body to be able to do the exercise. So everything matters. Everything is connected. Everything matters. So using these as a tool to help with the energy, to help with even pain reduction, right? We can't exercise if we've got pain going on. So we've got these to help decrease pain and inflammation so that we can move. If we're interrupted in our exercise program because of an injury, that's going to keep setting us back. So this is what I love. There's so many uses for them, and there's so much they do to help support bone health.
So, and I know you've got a number 3. Is it I guess there's a question is like, what type of exercise should we be focused on? Do you want to answer that one now or later?
Yeah, I can answer the third one is real quick because it's talks about it's protein. Get more protein in. I think this is a universal problem among the women that I see in the perimenopausal and menopausal period. They think they're getting enough protein, but they're not getting enough protein. These are the building blocks of our muscle and our bone. So we have to be getting enough, and we have to be digesting it and assimilating it. So everything kind of goes together. It's not just get more protein in, yes, but also make sure that we are able to break it down. But your question about what types of exercise should we be focused on, we really want to be focused on progressive resistive exercise. So this is exercise where we are using weights, we're using tubing, we're using cables or machines. We don't want to be using the same weights forever. So if you've been doing 5 pounds forever and ever, you're not building muscle. And we have so much research to back this up. Progressive, so it has to get progressively harder in order to build more muscle. So there's more strain on the bone. The bone responds to strain. And we won't get that if we're not continually building muscle. So progressive resistive exercise is hugely important when it comes to bone health. Then we have to be thinking about balance training. We don't want to fall and break a bone. Balance training needs to be done daily. We want to include that as part of our program. Postural strengthening, so being able to hold the spine upright, because if we're not, the more forward we go with our posture, the more compression we put on the front of the spine, where we're vulnerable to compression fractures. So we can get a different type of fracture, not like a fall and break your bone, but this is a different type of fracture. 2/3 are painless. 2/3 of these fractures do not have pain. So you may be fractured.
You even know if it's happened?
You may not even know it's happened. However, you may notice that your posture is getting worse and you can't straighten up. You may be getting a hump on your back. You might be getting shorter. These are signs you may have already fractured. So postural strengthening and awareness, hugely important part of your exercise program. And then weight bearing. So bearing weight on your feet. So the bone's getting impact from the ground forces. So walking, jogging, running, doing stairs, hopping, these types of things are providing weight bearing and impact. So impact training, that's a little bit more advanced. It's not for everybody, but that's another way. Jumping is another way to be building stronger bones. So these are really important pieces of an exercise program.
Well, I must say, after watching you on Instagram for quite some time now and being inspired, instead of going into the pool and just swimming the whole time, I now go into the pool and I jump up and down, and I make sure my feet are jumping up and down on the bottom of the pool so that I'm getting that impact, right? And
I love it.
Yeah, I thought, and it feels good. It feels good. I mean, we walk a lot, but being able to jump up and down in the water, as well as, use the water as resistance. Now I'm thinking though, hang on, I'm doing this same thing every day. So that water resistance isn't improving. So I really probably need to pick up some weights at the same time, correct?
Yes. And I always advise people, at least for that first time, make sure that you're working with a physical therapist or a personal trainer that understands bone health and osteoporosis. So they're advising you to do the exercise in the right manner. And, go slowly, progress slowly, because we don't want to have an injury and then have that setback. So absolutely, you need to pick up some weights, but do it with some instruction. That is the way to be building muscle. We don't want to be doing status quo, because we're not going to be increasing that strain on the bone that way.
That's the first time I've heard that. That's really exciting. Thank you for that. How do you use LifeWave technology in your practice? Like, are you with your patients? Do you recommend it to people?
Yes, I do, because I'm always working first with those root causes, right? So we talked about inflammation. And so I want to use it to help with inflammation. I want to use it to help with detoxification if that's an issue. So they help support those root causes that I mentioned. It's chronic stress. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
We've got a patch for that. Sleep, we have a patch for that. So I'm using it as a root cause support, but also for any symptomatic support. And I mentioned pain as being, a deterrent to exercise. If you're in pain, you won't be able to exercise. So I'm using the patches as a tool to help with pain and inflammation and for the healing. And then, of course, we have newer research that shows us some of the patches are helping with to decrease bone loss. So there's one of the stem cell patches helps to decrease bone loss, and they measured that in bone markers, not through DEXA scan, but that was a real eye opener for me. And it's something I use every single day, and I advise the people I work with to use that every day too.
Fantastic. So if you're like me and you want to know more, Anne is giving everyone in Heal a free ebook, and it's called 10 Proven Strategies to Reduce Your Risk for Fracture After an Osteoporosis Diagnosis. So I just want to thank each and every one of you for creating a special offer for the people who are a part of the Heal online experience. Wow, everybody, you're already going wow, wow, wow after Marie-Hélène and Anne. But hang on to your hat, because we've got 3 more amazing women. Laurie Vork. And Laurie, thank you for being here. In 2009, Laurie started waking up in the middle of the night with heart palpitation. Whoa, how many of you have actually done that? Her doctor tweaked thyroid meds, and when the results didn't shift, she was referred to an endocrinologist. Frustrated by doctors telling her to do the same thing she'd already been doing with negative results, Laurie was introduced to the world of functional medicine, and that this is where she learned to address root causes instead of chasing symptoms. You're going to hear this. These women are not interested so much in symptoms, although of course they need to know them, but they're really going to dig into the root cause. Fascinated by what she was learning about turning her health around, Laurie went back to school to learn functional nutrition. So Laurie loves helping women over 50 to restore their health, enabling them to age with grace and purpose so they can enjoy this season of life with vitality and fewer symptoms. And I'm going to quote Laurie: blending food, lifestyle skills, and LifeWave light therapy is a game changer for many women struggling with nagging symptoms like belly bloat, brain fog, thinning hair, poor sleep, dry skin, weight struggles, and gut issues. Adding LifeWave technology to any wellness plan restores function and invites joy on your wellness journey. Thank you for those words of wisdom, Laurie. So obviously you were motivated to become a holistic practitioner because of what you were dealing with. Is that correct?
Correct. Yes. And like you'll be hearing from all of these women, we all deal with root causes. But I had never heard of Hashimoto's. And it's something that it took doctors several years to figure out that's what was going on with me. And maybe many women have not heard of that either, because over 90% of people who have hypothyroid actually have Hashimoto's. But doctors don't often tell their patients that because they don't treat it any differently. They're not going to the root causes like we're going to, and helping people understand why they have symptoms. You know, symptoms don't often just pop up. They've been building over time. And Hashimoto's is actually the autoimmune expression of thyroid disease. So like Anne was talking about with autoimmunity, with bone health, and you'll be hearing that from other people too. Autoimmunity is rampant right now, especially because of what's been going on in the world the last several years is a big factor. Autoimmunity, at least in my case, fighting a virus or a bacteria was something that kicked it off for me, but also lifestyle factors that I wasn't dealing with, like food choices, poor sleep, lack of exercise, stress, all of the things we're probably all going to be talking about are so important, and they're overlooked in the medical system because that's not how doctors are trained. And that's not to say there's anything wrong with that. It's just, it's not the way they're trained. And we're trained in these things so we can help people understand how food can be a big part, especially with thyroid issues. There are certain foods that activate many people. And when we teach them how to take control of that, then the symptoms can actually start to disappear and they can start to feel better, even if they're on thyroid meds. Because a lot of women
I guess
are on
that was one of
thyroid
my
meds.
questions. A lot of people probably don't know what Hashimoto's is.
Mm.
And so do you want to just go into that a bit deeper? And then why should we be concerned if we're already on thyroid meds?
Hashimoto's is the autoimmune expression of
Yeah.
thyroid disorder. So that means that your immune system is starting to attack different organs or different systems in the body. And with Hashimoto's and thyroid, the thyroid is being impacted by it's being attacked. It's thinking the autoimmune system it's kind of going rogue, and it thinks that the thyroid needs to be attacked instead of going after a virus. So a lot of
there's a war going on inside
it
us.
is, yeah, it gets confused. And so, thyroid meds are a part of the solution for many people, and they can get people on track. But oftentimes it's the lifestyle things that are the biggest, the key to turning symptoms off. And that's what I like to teach people, especially it's overwhelming. When I first learned that I had it, I had no idea, the doctors are telling me all of these things I need to change, and I had no idea where to start. And so over the years, I have broken it down into kind of a baby steps approach for helping people. So women aren't so overwhelmed because women are more impacted with thyroid than men are.
Could you give us a few of your baby steps now? I mean, I'd really like to know. I mean, a lot of women find it very hard to take off weight as they're getting older. Now, I'm wondering, does that have to do with thyroid?
Very often it does.
Yes.
Yeah, that's one of the symptoms for a lot of women, that they just start putting on weight and they don't know why. Maybe they're not even shifting anything that they're doing.
Yeah.
But as we age, the thyroid naturally slows down. Like with everything. That's why Marie-Hélène is doing what she's doing to revitalize age, and Anne is doing the same thing with bone health, and the other two women that we'll be hearing from are addressing things the same way. So breaking it down into very simple things, like Anne was talking about, sleep is huge for thyroid issues. And for me, that was one of my problems. I was staying up late and getting up early, and I had no idea that sleep was so important, and it's a pillar of health. And so learning how to make sleep a priority is a big deal. And so what I often recommend to people is to get to bed by at least 10 o'clock, because the hours between 10 and 12 is where you have the most ideal sleep, and where your body is doing most of the healing. So if you're not going to bed until 11:30, you've just cut off 45 minutes of what could be optimal sleep.
So is that the regenerating cycle? It's
Yep, yep.
And
And
that's
then
where the thyroid gets affected the most.
Yep.
Okay.
And the thyroid is also very impacted by toxins. So, between like the hours of 3 to 5, when your body's doing a lot of detox, if you're missing out on those hours, there's accumulation of toxins in your body. So sleep is so important for regeneration and for detoxification and the healing process. So making that a priority is really important. And part of that, like the number 2 thing I would recommend that's very simple, is to get more sunlight in your day. And that's going to help with sleep too, which seems weird that getting out in morning sunlight and having more sunlight during noontime and in the early evening, when you're getting different frequencies of light from the sun, it's the red and yellow frequencies of light that we're getting from the sun that we don't get if we're indoor all the time. We're getting the green and the blue, and that's going to set you up for a better night's sleep if you're getting those different wavelengths of sunlight throughout the day. So
Well,
that's
I don't know about you, the audience, but I have never heard that before. And to actually, understand that we need to go out, literally what you're saying is 3 times a day at the different day in
Yeah,
order
just
for
for
us to,
10 minutes.
for
That's
10
all it
minutes.
takes. So it's very simple. If you go out, take your dog for a walk in the morning before you leave for work, maybe during lunchtime, you take a 10-minute walk, and after dinner, and all of those things are also going to help regulate your blood sugar, which is a big factor with thyroid health as well. Those two play hand in hand. And then, as Anne mentioned, protein is super important for thyroid health. And as we talked about, toxins are such a big issue with the thyroid too. It's really important to eat quality instead of, quantity is important too, but quality is more important with protein than with anything else, because just the way your body needs that. And if you're not eating grass-fed and grass-finished beef, you're getting all of the hormones and toxins that the feed is in the feed. And the same with chicken and fish. You want to eat wild-caught fish and seafood for the same reasons. You're trying to cut down on the toxic load the burden that your thyroid is having, so that it can function better and give you the energy and eliminate the symptoms that so many people have just by that.
I can see why people call you the thyroid detective. It's like, yeah, this is right. Such a brilliant focus. I love the fact that nowadays you can go, like even in my local supermarket, I can get air chilled, hormone free, all of these. Daniel insists, by the way, the chicken has to have like 5 things, otherwise I can't buy it. And the same with the beef and if it's not wild caught, then we're not eating it,
Right.
even in a restaurant. So I think we're on the right track, right? And
Yep,
I'd love
absolutely.
to think that people are conscious enough to hear what Laurie is saying about your choices, because it's our choices that create the environment that create the health or not.
Mhm.
And I think everybody so far is talking about that. It's the choices that we're making. Wow. What are 3 simple actions that someone with thyroid dysfunction can start making to feel better sooner, even on thyroid meds? Would that be the better sleep and the sunshine?
Yep. Those are 3 really basic ones. And again, a lot of people know this information, but they don't practice it. And that's really where it comes down to. If you're not practicing these very basic things, just jumping to the next big thing or looking for the next big thing isn't going to help you, because these are fundamental. And it's not something you just do for a while. This is a lifestyle. That's why we call it lifestyle medicine.
Yeah.
So you start adapting these practices, and that is going to carry you through, and symptoms will start disappearing as you start implementing these on a consistent basis.
And you were talking about the different frequencies of light, and that brings me to the LifeWave patch system, which each patch has a different frequency of light. And are you using the different frequencies of light in the patch system with your patients?
Yes, absolutely. And the beautiful thing is, when you get to know somebody's story and understand what their root causes are, which are going to be unique for each individual, there's a patch that can fit their needs. Like for many women, sleep is an issue. So you've got silent nights. I would always do X39 because of the healing that it's going to help inspire within your thyroid as you're using that patch. Energy enhancer, obviously, because many women with thyroid issues have low energy and they're very fatigued all the time. So that's going to start generating more energy for them. And then SP6 is a great one just for all over organ support, and specifically for the thyroid to help with that. But there's a patch for what we need. Eon is awesome because stress and anxiety and depression are often issues with thyroid dysfunction. And, stress plays a big role in all of the conditions that people have. So there's a patch for everything that a woman needs as they're
No,
trying
Laurie, I
heal.
think you're opening our eyes to something that's really important here. When Anne said about having a compression fracture and not even knowing it, where we could have thyroid problems and not even realize it. Like it doesn't have to be Hashimoto's, right? It could be lots of different things. And I do have to ask this because I have a girlfriend who's had her thyroid removed. I'm not sure if there's anything we can do there, but she has just started on LifeWave, by the way, and she's feeling she's got more energy. So she's actually feeling better. Have you had people come to you who've had their thyroid removed? And if so, is there anything that you can recommend?
Well, it's going to go back to doing the same. Even though the thyroid's not there, that means you have to be on thyroid medication for the rest of your life to support that. But the underlying lifestyle issues are still at play. And the really troubling thing is if you have one autoimmune condition, like 90 to 95% of thyroid disease is autoimmune in nature. If you don't address the underlying root causes, you're much more likely to develop additional autoimmune conditions down the road. So, you know, in a few years, you might get MS or lupus or Crohn's or, you know, any other autoimmune condition because you haven't addressed the root causes that set your immune system off in the first place. So that's probably why she's feeling better, but with the patches are helping, but all of the lifestyle factors are at play no matter what happens.
Gee, everybody, I hope you're listening to Laurie. This is really important. And by the way, she's giving us, everybody, a free ebook. And I actually do love the title of your free ebook, by the way. Thriving with Hashimoto's, Baby Steps to Transform Thyroid Health. So I want to thank you for that, because in that book, you're obviously going through all of this and giving us even more information, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, thank you, thank you
Thank
so
you, Sandra.
much, Laurie.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
The next of our wonderful practitioner panel is Dana Frost. And Dana is a body, mind, and spirit alchemist who educates and coaches women toward optimal health to enjoy vibrant lives with the people they love and to fulfill their mission in life. She hosts a weekly podcast, Vitality U. You have to sign up for Vitality U, with conversations that inspire insights for feeling younger while growing older. And Dana has been in the wellness industry since 2007. She's committed to continuing education, including certifications as a master life coach, aromatherapist, heart math facilitator, Myers-Briggs facilitator, light therapist, and functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner. Don't you love the way these women just keep going and going and going? It's beautiful. So since the beginning of her coaching career, she's led international retreats, and Dana's rich life experiences empowers her coaching practice, including navigating the challenges and joys as a mum for 32 years with 5 children, 34 years of marriage, and living abroad for 10 years. Welcome, Dana.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you for the invitation. It's just such a pleasure to be here with everyone. Thank you.
Yeah, it's very exciting. I mean, I'm loving it. So I want to get straight down into what you do. What are the 4 qualities of healthy breath?
That's such a great question. And that question was posed to me. I started learning about that question early in my coaching practice. I had this experience, and I don't know if anyone else has ever had this experience, when you realize your breath feels belabored. You know, you're just living your life, and your breath, it doesn't feel right, or you feel tired when you stand up, or you're walking and it's hard to talk and walk at the same time. You feel activated just through your breath, or you can hear another person breathing. Have you ever had that experience where you're sitting next to someone and they're breathing, and it doesn't seem right to be able to hear another person's breath? And there's a reason for that. And so, because we're not supposed to, the healthy breath is supposed to be quiet, so no one else can hear it. It's deep, which means it goes in through your nose and it actually inflates your stomach. It's slow. So think about that. When when the breath feels dysregulated, oftentimes it's speeding up, it's faster, or it's really, really slow. But your inhale and exhale should be roughly the same. So it's quiet, it's slow, it's regular, deep, slow, quiet, regular. Yeah, I've got them. Deep, slow, quiet, regular. And those 4 qualities come from the work of Dr. Andrew Weil. I don't know if anyone has heard of Dr. Andrew Weil. He's known sort of as like the father of functional medicine, or integrative medicine rather. He did a bunch of studies on the breath and the power of the breath in terms of regulating the nervous system. So what I realized early in my coaching practice, and even for myself, some different situations I was going through, is that it was really important to be able to train my breath to have those 4 qualities: deep, slow, quiet, regular. Because what happens is we have a trauma, as a child, at some point, we all experience some sort of a trauma. And what happens with the breath, it gets, it leaps into fight and flight, which means we're breathing through the chest. So we have some sort of trauma, we get scared and we hold our breath, and then we just start breathing through the chest. And I don't know about you, but I was taught, oh, your breath is a part of the autonomic nervous system. You don't even need to think about it. It'll just, your body will breathe as it breathes, and it's nothing that you need to purpose. But what I discovered is that when you're breathing through your chest because of some sort of fight and flight experience, you actually do need to take the steps to train the breath back to deep, slow, quiet, and regular.
I love that. Is that why, like pregnant women, when there's a lot of breath, pregnant women are taught how to breathe during childbirth. And I'm thinking, wow, I had no idea that was so important. Like Daniel hasn't been well for a couple of years, and sometimes we're sitting having dinner and he's like, and he stops eating and I'm going, what's going on? He said, I'm finding it hard to breathe. And so I can see that he's shallow, like it becomes shallow at that stage. And I guess that's when I should be saying, okay, babe, deep, slow, quiet, and regular, right?
Exactly, Sandra.
I must say that when you said we shouldn't be able to hear other people breathing, how many of you have ever felt distressed when you've heard somebody like breathing like that? I mean, I've felt distressed, because you realize that is telling us that there is something wrong, that something's going on, right? So your breath is actually an indicator that we've got something happening.
Absolutely, it is. And it is, if you have to breathe all the time, and it's something that you can focus on no matter what you're doing. You're driving your car, you're taking care of your children, you're cooking your meal, you're working. Wherever you are, it's so easy to bring your attention while doing something else to your breath and purpose it to be deep, slow, quiet, regular. Now, there are other, that's the healthy everyday breath, deep, slow, quiet, regular, and it's in and out through your nose. So you're breathing in and out through your nose. And we do know, like I've had a virus for a month, I have a cough, I have a cold. That's, in those instances, maybe we'll breathe more through our mouth. If we have some sort of an obstruction or a virus, that may change how we're able to breathe every day. But in a normal situation, deep, slow, quiet, regular, in and out through the nose.
Wow. So how can we harmonize triggered emotions? Like obviously we get triggered, and it sounds like you've got this focus now to actually help people come to that place of harmony and balance.
Yeah. So what's really interesting, Sandra, is that the HeartMath Institute, it's a scientific research institute in California. They've spent decades researching how our breathing patterns combine with your emotions. And so when we're looking at our emotional experience, the breadth of the emotional experience, we know that when we have a triggering emotion, it is either going to raise the heart rate. Let's say it is frustration. The heart rate's going to elevate.
We must have a lot of elevated heart rates because there's a lot of frustration going on, right?
Yeah. So what I want to say is the beauty is, as a human, we are designed to experience all the wide range of emotions that are depleting and emotions that are fueling to the system. And what HeartMath has done, it has done the research so that we can understand what the intersection between our breathing pattern and their scientifically researched breathing patterns is with our emotions. So at the intersection of the breathing pattern, emotions, and our heart rate variability. So you harmonize your emotions. So you think about the emotions that we want to have. What are the emotions that, like, oh, we are going to welcome love. We're going to welcome joy, courage. We're going to welcome confidence, excitement, adventure. Those are the emotions we want to have. And those emotions actually fuel the system. And when I say fuel the system, well, how does that happen? The body intelligently releases hormones that actually fuel a healthy internal ecosystem. That's the intelligence of the body. When we experience emotions that are depleting, like frustration, rage, grief, sadness, those emotions actually, when we experience those emotions, the body's response is to release chemicals that actually deplete the body. And so
yeah, we're either uplifting our internal system, or actually it sounds like it might be degrading at that stage.
Yeah, it's depleting. Yeah, you're upgrading or you're depleting your system. And this is where, it's just so interesting how intelligent the body is, because this is when why I like to come from the perspective of emotions is because everyone, if they stop, and bring consciousness to whatever they're experiencing, they can identify the emotion, and they can identify if it feels good to them or if it's like, I don't really enjoy feeling this emotion. Now, to be human is to experience all the emotions. The challenge is when we get stuck, which is what happens, we get stuck in an emotional pattern that's depleting. And this happened to me, and I've had plenty of clients where it's happened, where you get stuck in an emotion that's depleting over a long period of time. And just imagine those the depleting chemicals are being pulsed into your bloodstream. And what happens then? You end up with body breakdown. You end up with bone breakdown, as Anne said. You end up with, autoimmune disorders. Your body starts working inefficiently, and your immune system moves against your body and becomes overactive, and you get body breakdown. And this is how, from an emotional perspective, you get issues that get stuck in your tissues.
Yes, they say, yeah, there's that saying, the issue is in the issue, right?
Yeah.
And I've actually seen firsthand that a lot of men and women who have gone through divorce, or they've lost a partner, like 12 months to 2 years later, they get cancer or something else goes wrong. And it's because they're in this grief state and anger, frustration state. And of course, the environment changes, and our the molecular cellular structure relies on this brilliant environment. Do you know what this is? It's mindfulness. What you're talking about is this beautiful exposition on mindfulness, really, isn't it?
It is. And it's what I love about Heart Math is that it provides us with very simple breathing tools that we can use to harmonize the emotional experience. So let's say if you get in a divorce, grief is a very normal response. If you lose a loved one, if you have a health issue that's, brings you out, it's natural to have feelings that are depleting. There's nothing wrong with that. But what we don't want to get stuck there. And so we can harmonize by calling on heart-focused breathing. That this is just the number one tool. And this is a visualization. You visualize your inhale and exhale to flow to and from your heart center, 360 degrees around your body. And I don't know if you could feel that. It's an energetic expression. But even anytime I just say, heart-focused breathing, I can feel the energetics of that in my heart. And
yeah, Dana, you just did the minute you said heart-focused breathing, I went to my mind naturally went, I think this is normal too, right? The mind naturally went to the heart. Why don't we all try this for just a breath? Because Dana, just take it through, like get us.
Yeah. So the beauty, so this is, if we dial into their research, you want to do it for no less than 20 seconds. That's sort of like the 20 seconds you do the visualization. So I'm going to talk, but let's just do it for, I'm not really watching the clock, but I kind of know what 20
Let's
seconds
do
is.
20 seconds. I want to
Yeah.
feel this.
So visualize the inhale and exhale to flow to and from your heart center. I just felt this big, this really nice little electrical thing. Just inhale and exhale to and from the heart center. But I do want to say, physically, the breath is still deep, slow, quiet, regular. Just know that you've got two things happening simultaneously. The physical breath, the air is going deep, slow, quiet, regular through your nose, inflating your stomach. It's slow, it's quiet. Energetically, you're visualizing the inhale and exhale to flow to and from the heart center. That is, we're at 20 seconds for sure. How did that feel for everyone?
Well, I loved it. What about the others here? You could feel it. Actually, what I was looking, I had my eyes closed for a bit, but then I was looking at everybody as we were doing this, and I could see this beautiful, I mean, everybody's aura actually changed. Everybody became more calm and still. It was beautiful. Thank you for taking us through that.
Yeah, I would love to just add the next tool for heart math, Sandra, because it's so easy, and it would be remiss not to
Yes,
say,
please.
if you add on the feeling of inner ease, so heart focused breathing with the feeling of inner ease, that can actually neutralize a triggering emotion. Let's say you're in a stage of depression. If you will start doing heart focused breathing with a feeling of inner ease, you can, from a heart rate variability perspective, from a chemical perspective, you can begin to neutralize that emotion that's depleting, all with the simple practice of these scientifically researched breathing techniques.
Beautiful. How do you use the LifeWave technology with your clients?
Wow, I would echo everything that has been said. What I love about the LifeWave patches is, from the very beginning, to me, it was this easy, simple prop that I could provide, well, for myself, first for my mother, then for myself, and then for my clients. When we are trying to heal something that's physical or emotional, it's hard work. As Lori said, it's hard for people to follow through. So LifeWave patches, they come in as this very simple prop to support us in our time of healing, or, whatever we're going through, or if we're just like looking to upgrade our longevity. How easy is it to add a prop of a patch to your body? It's the easiest thing that you could do for your body. So from an emotional perspective, I like Eon, because we know that Eon puts the body in rest and heal mode, and it can, in like the speed of light, neutralize triggering emotions too.
Wow.
So, but I use all the patches, but I do love Eon when it comes to healing, emotional patterns.
Yeah, I was at an event 2 nights ago, and I was talking about the patches, and everybody in the audience came up to me and said, I want to get patched. And so I had Eon patches with me, and I patched them, but I patched them after I had asked them to focus on something that was upsetting them. Then I put the patch on, and then I said, how do you feel? Is that still upsetting you? And they go, every single one went, no, it's not. But that was my ex. It's always upset me, like this kind of thing. So, combine that kind of technology and that instant getting neutral and using the breath and everything is pretty exciting. You have got an amazing giveaway. So Dana is going to give away a 30-minute heart math training session. Now, do you want to put a number on that? Like the first?
Yeah. So, well, what I was no, this is how I want to offer it, Sandra. And I should have clarified.
That's okay. I had to do that.
Yeah. So there'll be a link for my tension test. It's a quiz, and anyone who signs up for the tension test will go on a list and I'll have a Zoom call for a heart math training session.
Fantastic. That makes more sense to me. It was like,
Mhm.
oh no, because there's going to be a lot of people that want
Mhm.
this session, right?
Mhm.
So that is going to be fabulous. And doing it in a group,
Mhm.
what I'm finding with group coaching is that everything is exponentially more. I know it's just amazing the way that works.
It's
So
magnified.
yeah, it's all magnified and you get
Mhm.
better results. So thank you so much, Dana. And by the way, when you're all going, well, how do I get in touch with them? Believe me, all of the information on how to get in touch with each of these incredible women is going to be available to you. And we'll probably be sending an email out after you've watched this in August, and we will be giving you all of their information in that one email. So let's come to Laura Martin. Laura, thank you so much for being with us today. So Laura was born and raised in California, and she was always involved in sports and couldn't be away from the water for very long. You were in the right state for that, Laura. And she has 3 children and has been married for over 30 years. She currently resides in Cabo San Lucas, Mexico. By the way, when you think about the relationships that everybody has, there's a lot of mindfulness and awareness going on with these health practitioners. And they've all managed to put together incredible relationships. So just think about that when you're thinking about your health and well-being and your longevity, because the things that they're teaching you are the things that they're practicing. And of course, it's allowing them to have the life they want. Laura grew up wanting to be a doctor from the time she was a young child. And in her teens, she began her healthcare quest, trying to help family members suffering from ailments. She realized that nutrition, diet in particular, and lifestyle practices were intertwined with a personal state of health. She spent the last 30 years helping others to adopt healthy diet and lifestyle habits. She became a certified functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner in 2018. And so she could continue to help others on a larger scale. So Laura was introduced to LifeWave through a colleague as she was researching stem cell clinics for one of her clients. When she learned that a photo light therapy patch could be used to activate certain cells to start healing, she was interested and dove in to read all the research. And she uses them on herself and her family, and she's been able to help her own family members reverse their lifelong diagnosis and continues to help her clients balance their bodies with these patches along with their healthy diet and lifestyle. Wow. I was going to ask you why you became a health practitioner, but it feels like, did you have your own health crisis, or like, tell me about this, because that feels like it's been a drive for you.
Well, it always started as looking at others. I grew up with several family members being sick, always being ill. So as I watched them suffer, and then watching the Western medicine protocols, not serving them, not helping them get better, they just would come home with one new medication and then another medication for the side effects of that medication. So I didn't like it. So that's why I started researching how do I help them to not have these diagnoses in the first place? What are the roots? I didn't know what roots were back then, but I always was trying to find the more holistic approach. That's how I came to find out about holistic medicine and then functional medicine, because it starts looking at the whole person instead of just the symptoms. You know, we learn how the body functions as a whole. So what's out of balance? And that's how I just came to love looking at how the body works, because the body has this innate ability to heal itself. So I tried to see, how do I do that? How do I help people by doing that?
Yeah, well, we're
That's how
often
it came
told that
about.
the body in its own intelligence can heal itself. But again, even listening to everybody, it's the right environment, it's the right mindset, it's the right everything. And truly, especially the last 5 years, the environment has not been conducive to people and people's bodies healing themselves. So there's a lot going on. I'm going to make a statement. I eat right. Isn't that enough to have good health?
I get a lot of people who say that.
Mhm.
And it would be nice if it was that simple anymore. You know, years and years ago, it was. My great-grandparents were farmers. They ate what they grew. So they didn't have the things that we have today. We have fast food restaurants, fast-paced lifestyle. So it's not enough just to eat what I may consider clean and healthy, and someone else may consider McDonald's to be just healthy as can be. So since we're bombarded with so many things in our own environment, our gut health is affected by that. Our stressful, fast-paced lifestyle, or chronic stress, inflammation, imbalances with blood sugar, or even our minerals, not having enough electrolytes in our system. It can start throwing everything off. And so since all of these women have already attested to, the roots is usually having to do with the gut. And so that's what functional medicine does, is it goes into looking how we can turn those things around, finding the things that are out of balance and bringing them back into balance.
Do you find that there's a lot more leaky gut? People now, like a lot of people are suffering from leaky gut, and they don't know they are.
Right, exactly. And that was me. That was me. The more I learned, the more I thought, oh, well, maybe I need to, start looking at my gut. And then I just thought that being bloated by the end of the day and your pants not fitting anymore was normal, until I learned that gas and bloating and inflammation, that's not supposed to be normal. These were signs that something was off. And when I was able to heal it, when I was able to see that maybe everything I was eating, I wasn't absorbing, because we're more than just what we eat. We are what our bodies can do with what we eat. So our gut has to be optimal to be able to pull out those nutrients from the food we're giving it to support our bodies.
Is that one of the ways that we know that our gut health needs work and help? Like the symptoms. What are the symptoms?
Right. Well, there's
yeah,
there's many ways that we can tell if our gut needs some attention. I mean, some are pretty obvious, like gas and bloating, like I said, but some are not so obvious. Some people might not even know is attributed to your gut. Every organ in our body is tied to our gut, our digestive system, including our brain. So some of the symptoms can be brain fog, memory issues, fatigue. It can include things like menstrual problems, PMS, acne, headaches, even bad breath. Those things can all be tied to our digestive tract not being optimal and needing some attention. There's, the obvious ones of, constipation or diarrhea. People usually say, oh, my digestion's off, or heartburn. But there's anxiety and depression. Those can also be linked to our digestive tract too. So that's what we do, all of us together. That's where we look at what things are out of balance. What are we deficient in? What things need to be brought back into balance so the whole body can be working together.
Have you noticed that there's more people with allergies to food? I'm just wondering, of course, there's so many more poisons in the food these days. And in America, when I first got here, I went to the supermarket and I was looking through the dairy section, and Daniel was beside me and he said, why are you upset? Are you crying? I'm going, almost. He said, but what's wrong? I said, well, it's all low fat, everything. I can't find a full fat yogurt or a full fat cream or milk. It's all low fat. And he said, yeah, that's not good, is it? And I'm going, no, because that's sugar. This is a recipe for obesity and all sorts of things, correct? And to people, I don't know that people even know that buying low fat stuff, that can't be good for your gut. What happens when you eating low fat stuff?
Well, the high sugar diets that we have been exposed to in the Western part of the world, that's definitely takes a toll on our entire digestive tract. It causes inflammation. It destroys your gut lining. But also low fat, we've been fed that from the medical field for years. Everything should be low fat. Watch your cholesterol. But our bodies need fat. Our brains need fat. So a lot of the diseases that we see today are attributed to the things that we eat, the lifestyles that we have been taught are supposed to be good for us, really are destroying our guts, which causes more diseases.
I think we all have to be cognizant that there are big pharma, and that there are people and industries now that are making billions from pushing this kind of thing. And also it's not, I don't know that they're deliberately pushing us to be sick, but it feels like it. It feels like, well, if you're really smart, you've got to know that if you're going to be putting a high sugar diet in, that things are going to happen and go wrong. And like Marie-Hélène, I bet there's no way that she's going to be telling people to eat sugar in her, reverse aging energy, because it's just not going to happen. So obviously your focus on the gut is probably one of the most important focuses that we can have, right?
But I think that's where it all begins, because it's the first thing to break down. And then since it's connected to every part of our body, then everything else is also affected by it. It's also our first line of defense with airborne pathogens, parasites. Our digestive tract is very, very, very important.
So how do you use the LifeWave patch system, this light energy frequency system, in your practice?
Well, there's was mentioned before, inflammation. We can have chronic inflammation and not even know that we have that. We need to detoxify the things that we are eating. We also need to be breaking things down. So the patches, again, we can use for inflammation. There's a patch for inflammation, calming things down. When our bodies aren't in the rest and digest mode, our digestive system slows. And then if our digestive system is slow, we have this buildup of toxins. So we have to start detoxifying, trying to get all of those things out. So I can use the patches to help people to heal their digestive system as they're working on other things, lifestyle practices, sleep. We can't heal without sleep. So all of these patches, we can use so many different modalities of these patches to help with healing. Just the energy enhancer patches, not only does it go straight into the cell and give you the mitochondrial energy, it also takes the stress off of the adrenals, which the adrenals are people today, you've heard of adrenal burnout or adrenal fatigue. Our adrenals are working super, super hard just to help give us the energy that we need throughout the day, because we're running. So our adrenals really need some support. And those energy enhancer patches, they give our adrenals the break that they need by going directly to the cell and letting the cell give the energy instead of the adrenals pumping out that cortisol constantly to give us that energy that we're lacking, or the caffeine that we're drinking to stay awake during the day. So it's just bringing everything back into balance, starting with the gut, those patches. There's a patch for everything.
Yeah. Laura, Laurie, I haven't heard the, Laura, I hadn't heard about the adrenal fatigue and energy enhancer. That just makes total sense. And I was thinking, I've got a lot of mums, older mums, by the way, in their 40s in my life at the moment. And they are, the ones who are not using the LifeWave patch system are always exhausted. And I feel like they're in victim mode. You guys probably come across this, each one of you, that when you get into this mode where you've got no energy, you're not able to sleep, you're feeling depressed and negative, that there's this victim mode that happens, and then the relationship suffers. And the kids are seeing this, you know, well, maybe they think it's normal too, because that's all they know, right? But the ones who are using the LifeWave patch system, where they're increasing the energy frequency vibration of their cellular structure, I'm noticing that they're practicing more self-care. Isn't this interesting? So if you're in victim mode, you don't practice self-care. But when you're not in victim mode, you can have the will and the energy to look after your gut, your thyroid, you know, your heart, your bones, you know, the way that you are not aging. So I just feel like I've learned so much today from each and every one of you. And I'm just going to finish up by asking each one of you for a final tip. So Marie-Hélène, can you please give this audience a final tip?
Well, this is getting harder and harder listening to everyone, because it feels like we got a whole holistic course in one session. So, but no panic, just choose your entry point. And I know that even Laurie said something really important. Knowing is one thing, but doing is really what is important. My little tip, I'm still going to give my little tip about boosting your cellular energy. And it's about something called Hermesis, or Hormesis, in case of if my accent was not really completely spelling the word properly. And it's an intentional process to build your body's resilience to chronic stress. So it's all the things like exercise, fasting, hot and cold, all the cold plunges, etc., hot saunas. But the one tip that I want to give it's a little bit counteractive with what Dana is teaching us about the breath, because it's going into learning your body using hypoxia, meaning to have your body with no oxygen, or to bring your body to a state of less and less oxygen, to build that resilience to stress. So the one way that I thought was really pretty cool and pretty much and quite fun is to choose your favorite song and to sing your heart out to top of your lungs because obviously you will exhaust your breath. And I thought it was quite a fun tip to give at the end of this amazing session.
I love it. And I'm going to imagine everybody in the audience now, when they finish this, choosing their favorite song and at the top of their voice, and then I'm going to see them go, okay, deep, slow, quiet, regular, into the heart. Thank you. I love that tip. Thank you, darling. Anne.
Well, I'm not going to sing for you. I'm going to save you all that. But I will tell you what I really think people need to know this. Get a DEXA scan. Know your bone baseline. Do not wait until age 65 when insurance pays for it and you start to have this discussion with your physician. It is way too late. This is not a geriatric problem. Bone loss and bone health starts way earlier. And if we wait until 65, you may be in full-blown osteoporosis, and it will be harder. You can still make change in the bone. I'm telling you that you can, but gosh, if you can get your bone density done, it's not super expensive to get it done. Get it done earlier. Know what your baseline is, because there are some people that actually didn't build enough bone density in their teens when their bone mass was supposed to be at its peak, for whatever reason. There are many reasons that can happen, but you need to know what your baseline, your bone health baseline is. Get your DEXA scan. If you can get it with a trabecular bone score or a TBS, you need to call the facility and ask if they have it with the DEXA. That will give you a better overall picture of the bone density and the bone quality. So please, everyone, know your bone baseline.
Okay, so we're now going to have everybody making a phone call after this as well. Probably sing first, breathe, and then make the phone call, right? I love that. In fact, I've never had a bone density scan, but what's interesting is that one of our friends had a bone density scan over 12 months ago, and the doctor said, okay, guess what? You've got osteoporosis, you've got, your bone density isn't what it should be. She started using the LifeWave patches, the X39 and X49, and she had a bone density scan. It's called DEXA, right?
DEXA scan. It's a DEXA scan.
Okay, she had the DEXA scan 12 months later after using the light energy patches, and guess what? The doctor's going, well, I don't know what you've done, but you've completely reversed this. And she was thrilled because she felt like she was no longer in trouble. So yeah, we're all going to get our scans. Thank you, Anne. Laurie, final tip.
Have more fun. That's something.
Oh my God. Okay, everybody, have more fun. Sing at the top of your voice, deep breathing. How are we having more fun, girl?
Well, one way you can do it is by adding more color to your life. So even just when you're out walking, look for different colors and make it fun, or add more color to your diet. That's a great way to have fun and a great way to include your kids in things. If they are choosing colorful foods, they're more likely to eat them, and it's more appealing. So have more fun.
I love that tip. And I do, because I'm a very visual person. I bet you most people here are visual as well. And I love serving up a meal with bright orange and green and all of the different colors on, because I start salivating when I see the colors. And I thought it was the food, but I think it is the color. The color is so important. The other thing I would suggest is a little tip to go in with yours about walking and seeing color. Look at the blue sky or the gray sky. Don't judge the colors. Just look at the colors, right? And know what they are, because there's so many colors in nature. It's beautiful. What a great tip. Thank you. Dana.
So my tip is your body is your ally. It's not working against you. So it's very easy when our body isn't behaving in the way that we want it to behave to think that it's betraying us. And if we can find a little entry point to see it as our ally, if it's the symptoms that we have are actually, the body saying, hey, pay attention to me. I need something. The body wants to be harmonious and have homeostasis. The breath, it's very easy to do that with your breath, because your breath, when you're breathing in, you're using your physical body and the energetics. And it's an easy way for you to begin to just pay attention to the body through your breath.
Pay attention to the body through your breath. Beautiful. Laura.
And I'm going to kind of piggyback off of what Lori said, because I focused mainly on gut health. I'm going to ask everyone, look at your plate. Every time you eat, look at your plate, look to see how many different colors of unprocessed foods that are on your plate. Colors mean energy. So the more colors you eat in a day, if you eat the rainbow, look to see at the end of the day how many different colors you could eat in one day, because colors bring you energy. They help to bring balance to your body. They help heal your gut. So just eat the rainbow, look at your plate, and see how many different colors you could eat in a day.
Eat the rainbow. I love that. And by the way, Laura Martin is giving away a free strategy call after this. So now, Laura, I know that you can't give away a strategy call to everybody. So would you like it to be like the first 4 or 3 or you know, people that call in after this interview, like, how would you like to work this? I love the way Dana's going, okay, so I'm doing this now and it's going to be for the group, but how would you like to work this? Or are you happy to just put a number on it and say, yep, I'm going to do the first however many?
I can do the first 10 who
I thought you
asked
were gonna
for
say
a
10.
free strategy call.
All right, there's going to be 10 very, very, very lucky people. So when this has finished, you've got a lot of homework, everybody, to do all of these wonderful 5 things. And the first 10 who contact Laura will get a free strategy call, which is pretty fantastic. And so Laura's email is laura@nourishedfunctionally.com. Is that right? nourishedfunctionally.com. And you will get the emails of everybody else, but I thought there'll be 10 people out there going, oh, I want to be one of the 10 to get that session. So laura@nourishedfunctionally.com. I just want to thank you so much. I mean, honestly, we're here for an hour and a half together, five incredible people, and you have given us your wisdom, your love, and your support. Thank you. Thank you from Heal and everybody at Heal. And I would just like to say before we finish that for those of you who are loving the Heal Week, we are giving away a lot of prizes this week for participation. And we're giving away 10 X39 sleeves and 4 Codebreaker books and 1 $1,500 session with me. And again, how to win the prizes will be in the group and in the emails. And so don't worry about a thing. It'll all be out there for you to know how you can be a winner in Heal, because we love giving gifts. Obviously, all these women love giving gifts, and we are breaking down barriers, busting myths, and bringing you tomorrow's healing technology today. Thank you so much, everybody. God bless.